this idea that we spend so much of our life trying to prove something, to prove that you're enough. You have to prove that you're pretty enough. You have to prove that you're smart enough. You prove that you're a good wife or a good friend. And I was like, I am just so done with the prove it game. I don't have to prove that I'm a good person. I don't have to prove to you that I'm a good wife or mom or friend. I don't have to prove that I work hard. And if you can't see it, I don't need to prove to you why that's your loss. Like, because I know that I'm a great friend and I know the kind of mom I am. And I know the kind of human being I am. I know how I show up. And I love being able to be that person with the people that I love. So, worthiness, maybe part of worthiness comes when you stop having to feel like you're in the prove it game.
Hey y'all, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm excited to talk about Meghan's sit-down interview with her friend and multi-hyphenate entrepreneur, founder, New York Times bestselling author, all of the things, Jamie Kern Lima. There was so much to take away from this interview and I'm excited to talk about it. So let's get started. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to give you my thoughts on this interview with Meghan and Jamie Kern Lima. This was actually, unfortunately, my first time hearing of Jamie Kern Lima. I am just not that tapped in with like celebs and just notable figures. I know who I know, and then I like who I like, and I rarely venture out. So this is one of those really fun moments where being a fan of Meghan or Harry is introducing me to someone else really cool. And I have been deep diving her YouTube and all of her interviews. And I have just been having a time for the last 24 hours. So I've talked about this before. This is one of those really fun moments where following a celebrity or public figure that I already know puts me in touch with someone else who is equally as fun to watch or exciting to watch or just fun to deep dive into. And so I have been having a time for the last 24 hours. So thank you yet again, Meghan. Continuing to enrich my life. Now, I need to hear your thoughts on this interview. I'm going to hit a few high points, my takeaways, and of course, a few very notable quotes and gems, but I'm not going to be able to get to everything. This is a 1.5 hour interview, so feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, or if you're watching during the premiere, whoop, whoop, thanks for being here early. Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the live premiere. Now, before we get into my thoughts, if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video. Subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. So first, I have to note how endearing it was that Meghan and Jamie Kern Lima showed up makeup free. I did not realize that Jamie Kern Lima actually had no makeup. Now, she did mention that she has rosacea and that her cheeks get really red. So I did think I saw blush and mascara, but no, she was makeup free as well. And I just have to say, girl, I would kill for your eyelashes. I need to know how you get your eyelashes to do that when you wake up, because ma'am, mine are little stumps and you can't see them unless you go find them. And so I am wearing like 5 coats of mascara and you can barely see my little lashes. But anyway, they both looked amazing, but I love that extra little touch of authenticity that they chose not to wear makeup. I'm one of those people who doesn't feel like makeup makes you fake or that you're trying to be pretentious or any of that stuff. I actually just think you feel better when you wear something that makes you feel your best. And sometimes it's makeup, sometimes it's curling your hair, sometimes it's I want to wear this shirt over that shirt. Makeup doesn't take away from you in any way, but it enhances your already beautiful features. But if you choose not to wear it, that's also a choice too, and that's also okay. And I thought they both looked amazing. Now, I loved that throughout the interview, we heard Meghan say several times that her choice not to wear makeup wasn't just like vanity or authenticity or any of that. It was because she probably was going to cry, and she did. And she didn't have to fix makeup in the midst of all that. So I thought that was funny. It was a practical choice as well. Something that I learned from this interview is they're friends in real life. I didn't know that because I don't know either of them personally, so I wouldn't know their friend group. But I actually had not known of them to cross paths in public in any way. They probably have, and I just missed it. But I didn't know that they knew each other. So it was really cool to get a little bit of an insight into their friendship. And that's filled with lots of really deep hours-long talks, lots of family time between them, lots of gifts and special moments exchanged, and being there for each other through big, fun and hard times. So it was a really nice moment for them to share a little bit of their friendship. As we know, Meghan is fiercely protective of her friends and their privacy. So I'm not surprised that we don't know all of her friends or who they are, especially since anything attached to her can become a media circus through no fault of her own, all the fault of those people. And we know who they are, but we won't make this about them. We're just gonna keep it pushing, but you know who you are and you know what you've done. But because of those people, a lot of times if Meghan even breathes in someone's direction, it becomes a problem. And sometimes people can, live through that, and sometimes they can't. And I love that Meghan is not willing to roll the dice. She allows her friends to be public or not public at their discretion. And I think that's just another example of her being a very sincere friend and allowing her friends to operate within their own boundaries. I also enjoyed the moment where Meghan talks about her current place in life, that she, again, is in her chapter of joy. She's happy and she is actively practicing stillness. She's trying to stay still and experience everything that's going on around her, with all of the new launches and the family time and the kids going through their milestones, and her and her husband and all of the things that they've got going on. And of course, her friendships and her time with family. That is a lot. So I don't blame her for pacing herself and just trying to take it as it comes. But that is a practice, and that can be very difficult to do. That is something that I also talk about, but it is easier to talk about it and it's easier to set the intention than it is to actually execute. And I have to remind myself, as most people know, I'm in school and I'm attending 2 colleges on an accelerated program. And so it has been a lot to do this and that. And then of course my podcast. And then of course, you all know I'm married and I'm an aunt. And right now is prom season and graduation season. And my niece is going to college, and then of course Sinners. I have to go to the movies to see Sinners at least once or twice a week. I got to give my time to Stack B. Jordan. And so it's been a lot to balance everything. But in addition to balancing everything, a good reminder in this moment from Meghan was that you don't want to just manage it and get through it and be on top of it. You want to experience it and feel it and live it. And something that I'd like to note is when we look back at the end of all of this, whether that be a long time from now or tomorrow or whenever, but when we look back, we don't want to just see a checklist of things that we did or that we got through or that we saw or experienced. We want to feel what we lived through. We want to remember it. We want to be immersed back into those amazing memories or those amazing moments. And we want to have that to carry with us throughout life. So this is a wonderful reminder from Meghan to don't forget to live through the moments. Thank you, Meghan. I'm going to try. I don't know how much I want to live through those tests and final exams, Meghan. I might have to just check those off on my way to greatness. I promise I'll do something fun afterwards in order to enjoy life, but I'm not going to live through those tests. I don't want to be there. I don't want to feel that. I don't want to remember that. I want to get through it, get an A, and go on about my business. Another moment that Meghan answers here, as well as in the Time 100 Summit Sit Down, is why she did not film with Love Meghan in her kitchen. And she gives the answer that every other YouTuber or squatty with a platform has said, the most common sense answer. It's a show. Why would she want an entire production crew and setup in her personal house? She has children and family and private items and private moments and all of these things that she cherishes. That's her sacred space. Why would she want all these random, no offense to the crew, but these strangers all up and through her house?
A lot of people on a team. When people are saying, why wouldn't you film this in your own kitchen, at your own house? It's a crew of 80 people. You have 80 people in your house when your kids are coming home from school or for lunch? No, I want my home and my kitchen to be a sacred place that my kids associate with me cooking for our family.
Yeah.
Be really confident in the choices that I've made that are in the best and highest good for me and for my
house.
family.
That's not reasonable. Some people don't mind that. And those people are welcome to make those choices. But it isn't a common choice to film an entire show or series in your sacred space. And I love that she mentioned in the Time 100 Summit that something that was important to her was those aren't the memories that she wanted to create for her children. That when she thinks about the type of memories that her kids would have about being at home, she didn't want them to remember a whole bunch of people in and out in a safe space like their kitchen when they're having their lunch or their after school snack or doing their homework or what have you. She wouldn't want them to remember all of this chaos and busyness. And again, how considerate of her. How considerate of her. I love that she is always considering those around her, even in things that some people might not realize. But yes, as someone who knows what that is like to have a lot of people kind of trample in and out of your house, even loved ones, sometimes it's nice to just have a quiet home where just the people who live there are there. And it's easier on the psyche when you first get out of school and you need to wind down. There is nothing like coming home from a long day of work or from a long day of school and walking in and it's just a whole bunch of chaos and a whole bunch of stuff and a whole bunch of people talking, maybe once or twice here and there, but like every day, that would drive me up a wall. And so I appreciate that she recognized that a whole production crew had no business in her house. So I'm glad she answered that. I wish y'all would stop bothering that lady about wanting to be all up and through her home. Let me come all up and through your home. Let me come with my camera and let me come with a few notepads and a couple of friends that you don't know. Let us bring some cameras, some boom mics, some lighting. I'm gonna wear my combat boots and I'm gonna trample through your garden and I'm gonna walk all up and through your house. I'm gonna pet your dog, pat your kids on top of the head, be in your fridge, using your bathroom, all these random people using your bathroom and setting up equipment, scuffing your floors. Oh my God. That just gave me so much anxiety. Let me not play that game, but let me do that to you and see if you like it. If you genuinely don't understand Meghan not wanting all those people in her house, let me and my crew come over to your house and do all the things a production crew will do. And no, you don't know me. That's the gag. You don't know me, but you still have to let me and all these kind of people that you don't know trample in and out of your house with all this equipment. And you never know what we're going to be thumbing through or looking at on your desk. And I can read upside down and backwards. So yes, I will be reading what's on your desk and on your calendar. You wouldn't want that because it's not reasonable. So please stop questioning that lady about why she doesn't want all these randoms all up and through her house. And what I loved most about that is that when it was feasible, her kids and husband were at work with her. So they were still having family time. Y'all just weren't all up in their business, which I think is what y'all really wanted. But anyway, next we got another look into their friendship when Jamie Kern Lima told a story about a particular day when she was just not doing well and she had expressed it to Meghan, canceled her date night with Prince Harry, with Prince freaking Harry, canceled her date night to be there for her friend. Girl, you have a friend in Meghan. Jamie, I love that you appreciate Meghan because I would too. I absolutely think that's such a sweet thing that Meghan did because she canceled a date night, not only with Prince freaking Harry, which girl, she must really love you. But also she canceled a date night and date nights are fun. You get all kinds of stuff you've been wanting to try. You get to stay out late. You get to eat really good food, laugh, joke, be off the grid for a while. Date nights are fun. It takes a lot for me to cancel my date night. So Meghan must really love you. And I love that they gave us that little insight into their friendship.
Also, I'm thinking about one moment where I was having the worst day and I was so sad. And I remember you canceled a date night, came over, sat in the rocking chairs. And I was like, sorry, H. I was like, I had no makeup, I had my bright red rosacea.
I could just tell you I was like, I don't think so. We have a date night. You're like, okay.
When you have felt unseen or you have felt like maybe you had needs in friendships or this or that, it's like be the friend that you want in your life and you do that.
Friendship, but that's what friends do. Friends show up for each other in the good as well as in the bad. And I would even say in the good, but especially the bad, because that's your chosen family. So it's great that they were able to be there for each other. Where Meghan finally talks about the Meghan effect. The Meghan effect is a big deal on my channel. When we get to talk about either Sussex styles or Meghan effect, that is when I am in my bag. I love talking about the Meghan effect. I think it's just so cool to have so much appeal that globally the world stops when you wear a thing. I just think that is the coolest thing. And no one deserves it more than Meghan. She is extremely stylish and she wears things well, but she's a conscious dresser. She puts things on with intention. She makes sure that they are eco-friendly, that they are ethical, that they raise the profile of a business or a person who needs it or who deserves it. I just love how intentional she is about that. And I love that when she wears a thing, the person reaps all the rewards. What a cool thing to do. And she actually said that's the thing that she likes about the Meghan effect.
There's this thing known as the Meghan effect. How does that make you feel?
Great when specifically it can help uplift brands that have a great ethos and female founders. It was a long time where I wasn't out talking. So if you couldn't hear me, how could I be heard through what I was wearing if that's what people were focusing on? A small company in Scotland, able to, hire 50 more employees. All businesses who would take women out of positions of being trafficked and instead give them jobs. And by wearing those jeans, I knew it was going to allow them to save more women. A touch point that's really, really high value to me. And if I can come in with a little sprinkle of fairy dust just by wearing a bracelet or doing something and that changes the course of their business, that's a huge honor.
But she also said it was a way to raise the voice of others as well. I just thought that's a really cool takeaway.
Yeah, to still be heard and in that, allow other people's voices to be heard.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that you tell us where you get these things so that we can look good too. Thanks, Meghan. I believe Meghan said that was also a benefit, that there is some wackadoo on the internet named SharionSade who likes to look at my clothes and talk about my clothes. And so that's the sole purpose of the Meghan effect for her. Now, I think that got cut out of the interview, but I'm pretty sure she said that, y'all. They talked about the whole Gwyneth Paltrow, Meghan beef and the whole thing. Now, this was such a nuanced conversation. It hadn't even reached her radar. She didn't even know about it until Gwyneth Paltrow texted her. And catch that, texted her. Clearly, they know each other personally. They have each other's phone numbers. But Gwyneth Paltrow texted her and said, hey, I didn't mean anything negative by what I said. It's being blown out of proportion. Can you help me squash this beef? And Meghan was like, sure. And they came up with the pie thing. Meghan ordered the pie off of Instacart, and they were able to put up that really cute viral video and squash the whole beef. Now, this beef had several layers to it. People were saying that Meghan was copying Goop thing. I knew that somebody had alluded to it in that same article where Gwyneth had given a statement. The author of that article, or the interviewer, actually said that With Love Meghan was one of Goop's descendants. And that was so frustrating for me. But that was actually the extent of my knowledge about that comparison. I didn't realize that that was as rampant as it was, and that there were people all over saying that not only Meghan copied Goop and all of that nonsense, but that Gwyneth didn't like Meghan or didn't like With Love Meghan and was shunning her and was trying to keep her out of their inner circles and all that. I didn't know any of that stuff. Like, I try my best to not talk about stuff that genuinely doesn't have any merit, or if I actually see a fault in the situation or some need to clarify, I will give my opinion. So that really didn't reach me, I don't think. But the part that I saw that I commented on everywhere was her actual statements. I thought the video that they put out did a wonderful job of proving part of my issue wrong. It was my belief that Gwyneth was trying to be shady. When I read that statement that everyone should have an opportunity to do the things that they want to try, I did feel like that was a little minimizing. I did. I thought it was dismissive, and I thought it was a tad bit shady. And being that I know of Gwyneth Paltrow to be shady in interviews, and I also know how she speaks about people when she is intentionally trying to give them praise or just be neutral, it was a far cry from how I know her to be when she is being friendly. And so I did read into that, and my thought was that she was being intentionally shady. The fact that she also had, was it Tracy Anderson on Goop on the website, who also shaded Meghan and said, I'm filming this in my own kitchen.
Hi, I'm Tracy Anderson. Welcome to my actual kitchen. We have a Tracy Anderson Green Goddess Crunch Goop salad coming to Goop Kitchen.
At the height of people questioning why Meghan didn't film in her show, I did feel like the 1-2 punch made me feel like Gwyneth was being shady. I was happy to learn that I was wrong about that. One, it was nice to know that there was one less person hating on Meghan and that I was wrong. I was glad to hear that, because that was not how I read that. That is not how I took that. And so I was happy for her to correct me on that. But two, the point still remains for me that there is a way to say things with intention to convey the right tone and message, so there isn't the opportunity to misconstrue. Given that and the tone of the reporter and how he was actually minimizing Meghan's show and her As Ever products, the way he was going out of his way to call it a descendant of Goop, paired with her comment, I'm not surprised that everyone read that as shade. And I do not gaslight people into thinking that they just made that up out of thin air. I got why people thought it was shade, because I did too. And I'm not someone who looks for fault in other people. As a matter of fact, I try to look at things objectively, something that I get a lot of criticism for, that I don't just fly off the handle. I look at things, I live through it, I breathe through it, and then I make a determination once I have enough information. And I'm always going to operate like that, no matter who likes it or not. And a lot of people give me criticism for that. I do not give a damn, because I'm a grown lady. I don't care. I don't fly off the handle for no reason. So when I saw that statement paired with the rest of the article and the Tracy Anderson thing, oh, you dang right. I said, oh, this is shade. I was glad to know that it wasn't shade, because that's one less person that dislikes Meghan and is hating on Meghan. That's good. That's a win. I don't want people to dislike her. So that's a good thing. But then two, now I can actually watch Iron Man without fast forwarding through her parts, because I watch one of the Iron Mans at least every month. I love the Iron Man franchise. And so every time I saw Miss Pepper Potts, I was fast forward, skip, not getting my time on my screen hating on Meghan. And so it was nice to be able to actually watch the full-length feature film without having drama and nonsense attached to it. So I was glad that they cleared it up. Now, something they talked about was the fact that there were a lot of people pitting them against each other just because in some way their brands were in the same lane. I don't really see it that way. I feel like, yes, as far as the huge umbrella that is lifestyle, I mean, sure, but they couldn't be more different. I'm not hating on Gwyneth. She made it right. She made sure we knew that she wasn't hating on Meghan. So Gwyneth is all good in my book for now. But be careful how you use your words, Gwyneth, and be careful of your tone moving forward. Just speak with intention. We won't have no problem. But I'm not hating on Gwyneth, but I do find Goop to be extremely pretentious. I do. I've been on the website a couple of times. I've listened to her interviews. I mean, she had a whole article on how to yawn. We just aren't in the same field of interest, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that what she does is bad. It doesn't mean I'm hating on it. It doesn't mean I dislike it. It's just not my cup of tea, and that's okay too. But Meghan's is my cup of tea, which is kind of crazy because you would think I would have more in common with someone who isn't royalty, but that's just the case. Meghan is just very relatable. She just has a lot of interests and ideas, and the things that she brings awareness to, they just happen to align with my interests as well. And so I do veer more towards As Ever and With Love Meghan than I would Goop, but they both have the right to exist, and it's all good. There's no worries with that. But also, With Love Meghan is based on The Tig, which was founded and created by Meghan herself. So Meghan referenced herself, not anyone else. And that's okay too. She also paid homage with her show to the greats, the people who came before her, the people who established these things. I think With Love Meghan is its own thing. It's okay for it to be similar to something else under the same umbrella, what have you, but it doesn't mean they have to be compared. And we certainly don't have to make them compete. So I love that that moment was able to squash any future misunderstandings. And Gwyneth, I'm going to depend on you to speak with intention and a more suitable tone that can translate in writing. Just saying. I don't want to gaslight y'all who had a problem with it, because I know that a lot of people are saying like, oh, there was never anything wrong. And I did see where there was room for improvement on Gwyneth's behalf. I felt like I see why people thought it was shady, because so did I. But I think it was just an unfortunate misunderstanding. And I'm really glad they took the time to correct it, because Gwyneth could have said, to hell with it, I don't care, and went on about her business. I'm glad that she took the time to clarify. Good for both of them for being team players. Once again, Meghan clarified that she goes by Meghan Sussex. That is her last name. It's great for continuity, as something she mentioned, but it's also because she is married. She has not used her maiden name since she's been married. And as a married woman, I fully get that.
Sussex.
Yeah. Right. Now I heard there are Sussex chickens, and I need to get a couple of Sussex chickens.
Do you use Markle anymore?
No, not since I got married.
Not since you got
Get
married.
that.
Yeah.
It is a personal choice whether or not you change your name, use a hyphenate, or keep your name the same, what have you, but your choice should be respected. Now, as someone who chose not to change my name, I hyphenated my name to always acknowledge, you know, my family, and that's okay too. That's just how the women in my family have always done it. All the Brookses, not all, but most of the people who were born of Brooks in my group hyphenated our names when we got married to someone else, and that's okay too. Now, I still will go by my husband's last name on like invitations and cards. Again, continuity, it makes it so much easier, but my legal name is still my maiden name hyphenate with my husband's name. So I have two last names, which is super cool. It makes my name long as hell. But that's okay. But that's okay too. And I have actually gotten criticism for not just changing my name outright. So I think it's so weird that people criticize Meghan for not going by her maiden name, because I'm one of the people who I haven't had any rest for 9 years. Where people say, why don't you just change your name? What you waiting on? You should change your name. And I'm like, I don't know. It's just not how I did it. But also part of the reason I didn't fully change my name is because I was not born in the United States, and I was not born on a military base. And so getting all of my identification, I actually ended up coming back to the US without everything I was supposed to come back with, because we had an emergency. And to get all of my paperwork took a year of constant phone calls, interviews, thumbprinting. It was a shit show. When I tried to get my driver's license, child, they put me through it. And it was then that I made the choice to be very intentional about any changes I made to my identity. And it has been a lot. I'm also a person whose identity has been stolen. And that was a shit show. And so I say that to say, some of us have government documentation trauma, and just take it easy on us. But I do think it is so crazy to see someone get criticized for changing their name to match their families, when all I have ever heard was how crazy it was that my name is a hyphenate. Like, child, anyway, like, I guess that's the perfect example of you're damned if you do, and you are damned if you don't. People will have some kind of criticism, do what you're going to do, and to hell with them anyway. I feel like if you're questioning that, even before she explained it, if you're questioning that, I don't think Meghan's the issue. I think that's a you thing. I think that's one of those things where somebody asks me a question that I feel like they're intentionally being obtuse. I'll say, did you really need an answer to that? Did that really go over your head? That puts them right on notice that I notice what you're doing. You're trying to annoy me, but you're the one who looks stupid. She also commented on the memoir rumors or the memoir question that kind of floated around a lot, particularly after Spare came out. People were wondering if she was going to release a memoir on her own. She said she is open to writing another book, whether that be a children's book or a homemaking style book or a design book or something that kind of falls under the umbrella of the lifestyle kind of thing that she's doing right now. But she said she's not ready to write a memoir, and she has a lot of life left to live. And yes, I fully agree. I said that too. When that first conversation started, I was like, yo, she's only like 43. She's got a lot to do. It wouldn't really make sense, especially since we have so much of her life documented. We have so much of her life already. I'm like, damn, how much more do y'all want from the lady? Y'all want a blood sample? Like, leave the lady alone. Damn. For people who say she overshares, y'all sure to be siphoning the life out of her. I'm like, Meghan is great because at some point she has to say, to hell with it, leave me alone. Like, I'm surprised that she just hasn't had a crash out. But anyway, good for her. But yeah, she said she's got a lot of life left to live. And yes, her kids are still very small. She's still very much in the early stages of her marriage. They've only been married 7 years, or they're coming up on 7 years. Like, there's a lot more that she's got to do. No, I understand Harry writing his memoir. Which way my thumb go? Right there. I understand why Harry wrote a memoir. First of all, he's a member of the royal family. He could just talk about that experience alone, and he would probably have a series of books. He could be the next Harry Potter, Prince Harry Potter, no pun intended. But no, he could have a lot to say because he has lived like 6 lives already. My goodness. I mean, the fact that this book is this long and he still cut out 400 pages. So his timing makes sense, especially since at the time he had to clarify things for the sake of history. So his life, as well as Meghan's, is a part of history now, like real history. It's important for them to get it right because if not, inaccuracies about the way he lived his life and the type of royal or person he was will not only be documented forever, for generations to come, but that those kinds of inaccuracies not only kind of muddy the waters on his life, but also the life of his wife, his children, and his mother, and the family he's attached to. It's important for people to document it the right way. He said that throughout the entire press run for Spare was that it's important that history gets it right. And he's absolutely right. Like, he's a royal family member. It's important for people to know exactly what happened, whether that make him look good or bad or what have you. It's not about making him look a certain way. It's so that when we walk away and we learn about these people in this family, especially in this time period, we know what happened for real. But also, you can't fix something if you don't face it. If his mother hadn't been so open and honest about her experience, he might not have known to pull the plug when he did to get Meghan out of there safely, Meghan and Archie. He made that choice from an informed place, from being a member of the royal family, but also his mother's courage of telling her story. He knew the signs. He saw it happening. He saw the pattern. He said, yeah, we finna get you up out of here. Because even Meghan was like, no, we can stay. We can work it out. Even though she was the one bearing the brunt of most of it. She was still trying to be a team player. He had to pull, the husband card and say, listen, this is for the safety of our family. We got to do this. And she respected and trusted her husband. And she went with him. But that was his choice. Even though they deemed it Megxit, that was his choice. And what a choice it was. Good for Harry, because a lot of people would have been like, listen, I don't know how to survive on my own. Because again, they handicapped the heck out of him. They did not teach him how to drive. Didn't teach him how to make money. Like, he wasn't allowed to have like personal identification. Like, all that stuff was handled by their offices. He had to learn how to adult as a citizen for the first time, as a grown man with a wife and a child. Talk about overwhelming. Talk about where we're going to earn money, how we're going to sustain ourselves. And they don't have just typical adult needs. They have needs like, we also have to spend millions a year in security. So it's not just about surviving. Like, we might have to say, how do we survive? Rent or a mortgage or food or a light bill or a car note. They have to survive and be like, okay, security, security for millions of dollars a year. And they had other types of needs, and they had to start from ground zero and work their way from the ground up under a microscope with a very short amount of time and very limited resources. I mean, it's nothing short of a miracle how they handled that and how they continue to handle their life. So I'm not surprised they're in like round 2 of their honeymoon phase, because damn, round 1 got interrupted, didn't it? They didn't get to have their supreme newlywed phase. They didn't get to have all that. Those people stole that from them. And I love that they're reclaiming that. They're having that time now. And I hope that they have a lifelong experience of being in a honeymoon phase. I certainly think they can. They certainly seem like they do. Being that up until this point, we know there's another 400 pages sitting somewhere, Harry, wherever that may be. If you ever want a place to store your USB, I have a very secure desk. You don't have no drawers, and there's nothing that locks on it, and the room that the desk is in doesn't lock, but I promise I'll keep it safe. And I think my promise is worth all of that. So send that USB. I'll keep it safe. All jokes aside, he has a lot more to talk about. And as they continue to live, he will have even more to talk about in 5, 10, 15 years. So I certainly hope Spare is part 1. And I hope book 2, memoir number 2, I hope that comes much later, but I certainly hope we do get that as well. But I'm glad she went ahead and shared that. Good. So y'all can stop asking her that too. Will she run for office? She was serious about that. No, I don't know who answered their question faster. Meghan, when she said no, she would never run for office, or Harry, when he was asked if he wanted to go back and be a working member of the royal family. I don't know who answered that question first, but them Sussexes, they're going to give you a swift no in a heartbeat, won't they? Never. Not ever. No. I was like, damn, do the office have spiders in it? What's going on? But no, I don't blame her. She just said that's not something she's interested in doing. Now, that's just a shame. I'm glad. I will always support her in whatever she chooses to do. She has the right to do what she wants to do. And being in office, no matter how high up or how whatever, it's difficult. It is difficult to work in government and work in politics. That is a difficult, life-altering role. And once you're in, you're never really out. Look at how they treat the Obamas. They don't get a break. Poor Obamas, they were out there trying to kayak and people had their phones and cameras out. I was like, if y'all don't leave them people alone. They gave us 8 years. They did the best they could. And then y'all hired somebody to come in and undo every damn thing. Blame yourselves. But anyway, yeah. So once you're in, you're kind of always in. People are still giving a public approval rating to Hillary Rodham Clinton. People are deranged. I don't blame her for not wanting to run for office, but I'm so sad that she's not. Now, I'll tell you this. It's a shame when someone you can see would just be amazing at something and they choose not to do it. But it's also not a shame because she has agency and free will. And I want her to do what works best for her. And to be real, government in politics is a thankless job. And since Meghan existing is already a very thankless job, people already abuse the lady for just waking up in the morning. I wouldn't want to give them any more reasons to bother me either, Meghan. Plus, she's 10 times more impactful doing what she's already doing and being able to move about with flexibility and kind of do what she feels led to do than she would within the constraints of politics. So I think what she's doing is 10 times more impactful than she could be in politics. And I love the way she's going about it. She is impacting the world and progressing the world forward and society forward in the way that she wants to do it authentically without the constraints of being in politics and without all the mudslinging and all the nonsense. I mean, she kind of has a knack for zipping through the nonsense and getting right to the meat of the problem and finding a solution. I think with Archewell Foundation, they're doing a lot of really great things and they're progressing society forward and they're kind of covering a lot of ground. I don't think Archewell Foundation is going to just be Archewell Foundation in the next 10 years. I think Archewell Foundation is going to set a precedent and is going to pioneer a lane for a new way to do foundations, because they are already covering so much ground. They're already spawning some very impactful initiatives, and each of those initiatives is continuing to grow at rapid speed. I mean, they're covering a lot of ground. They're making a lot of positive impact. So I think through Archewell Foundation, I think they have their hands more than full, and I think they're making more than enough impact. She's good where she is. I really enjoyed the story of Meghan meeting Yasmine Bleath from Baywatch for the first time. And I love this story because Yasmine Bleath is one of those people who I've seen my whole life and I know her face, but I can never remember her name. And when I learned her name, I'm like, how could I forget? That is a beautiful name. I love the name Yasmine. But anyway, thank you, Meghan. She told me her name is Yasmine Bleath. Now I know I put a face to her name. But she tells the story of meeting her for the first time and how Yasmine Bleath made her feel seen, asked her name, and engaged with her in a way that she actually models now because she recognized the importance of making someone feel seen because of how she felt. Now, I have to say about that, it's great to know how Meghan came to that place, because I actually consider her to be one of the best at meeting people and making people feel seen. And when you talk to people who've actually met her, they all say the same thing, that she's very warm, that you feel like the most important person in the world in that moment. She makes eye contact. She like holds your hand or touches you in some way. She makes physical contact, and she is all in. And we've seen her do this 1,000,001 times. And it's no surprise that people walk away from her feeling in some way loved on or encouraged or comforted, because that's the goal, is to make people feel seen. And it seems like that translates no matter what the need is of that person in that moment. And now we know where the origin of that has come from.
Baywatch, I see Yasmine Bleath. And I cannot believe I'm seeing Yasmine Bleath. And hi, I love you in the soft and dry deodorant commercial. That's all that could come out of my mouth. So gracious. This is such a pivotal moment for me, because I never knew I was going to become an actor or someone that people would go up to.
Yeah.
But this moment was so influential for me, because she turned around and she goes, "Hi, sweetheart, what's your name?" First thing I learned. I was like, "I'm Meghan." And that moment, I was like, she cares to know what my name is. And then she's like, "Hi, I'm Yasmine." I know who she is, but she introduced herself.
Yeah.
That moment with Yasmine Bleath taught me how important it was for someone to make me feel seen and not brushed off. And she might have been asked 100 times that day for a picture or anything else. And it always stayed with me where I go, "Hi, what's your name? Good to meet you. I'm
You
Meghan."
always do that. I see you do that all the time.
Especially since she was a child and in a development stage at that time. It's great to know that that was a positive interaction, because having that kind of impact, not knowing where her path would lead her, but then needing those exact skills later in life was such a full circle thing. Because I have met people that I admired, and I still remember it to this day. I met Eric Benet one time he was performing with Candy Burris. They were going on tour. They were starting a meet and greet line for freaking Eric Benet. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I love Eric Benet. And so I got in line, and I thought that he was going to be like, okay, no more, because I was in line for a long time. He stayed there and met every single person in that line, and it took a long time. And he had no problem. Every single person that walked up to him, he stopped and said hello to them and like said a couple of words and took his picture and all these things. And when it got to me, I was so nervous. I kept telling myself in line, do not overreact. Do not scream. Don't be that person. Don't. And I didn't, but I couldn't speak because I was nervous. So all he saw was this. He was like, "Hi, it's so nice to meet you. My name is Eric. What's your name?" And I said, "Sharion." I'm embarrassed thinking about that. Oh my God, that's so humiliating. I tell y'all way too much. Y'all don't need to know my business. I could tell he didn't hear me. He didn't know what I said, but he was like, "Girl, come on here. You doing too much." He was like, "Oh, okay, well, let's take the picture. How do you want to stand?" He was like, "It's okay. I'll put my arm behind." I was trying to hold the man. I was big spoon. That's how nervous I was. I tried to big spoon Eric Benet. I had my arm in the back, and he's like, no, it's okay. I'll put my arm. Thank you. You're better at this than I am. I took my little picture, and I got out of there. But I never forgot that one, because it was so dang embarrassing. But the only reason I was even able to get through it was because of how nice and kind and patient he was with me. Because I'm also cutting in here to say, if anybody out there knows Eric Benet, please help me get a redo. I have to know at some point I met him again and was completely normal. I want to be able to say, "Hello, my name is Sharion. Nice to meet you. Have a good night." I cannot for the life of me leave this earth at any point and know that there is someone out there who only knows that version of me, the helium balloon voice version of me, who was practically sweating and trying to be the big spoon. And I pray that he does not remember this. I'm pretty sure he doesn't. He meets millions of fans all the time. The only way I can sleep at night is by thinking that he does not remember this, because if I thought for a second he came across a picture or a photo or a video or something of me and was like, "Oh, that's the weird girl from Dallas," oh my God, that would be my 13th reason. So if anybody out there knows Eric Benet, please help me to meet him at some point and just say hello. I have to have that on the record so that at least I know that I can be normal. Okay, thanks. If you don't follow him on TikTok, please do. He tells funny stories, and he has a Joe Jackson story. It will literally make you cry. Okay, that's it. For real. Bye. Because if you're nervous around somebody and they've been standing there for well over an hour, they might be like, "Okay, next. Go on. You get on my nerves." He was still so nice and patient. And that wasn't even me as a kid. I was 22 years old. I remember meeting a basketball player. I won't say his name, but he is very famous, and he played for the Mavs, and he did a meet and greet. I won't say his name, but I was a kid. Went to this event where we got to meet several athletes, and this person was there. And I got in his line because he was the only athlete I recognized. And I got in his line and he was so rude. Like me and my friend walked up and we were like, "Hi, my name is Sharion." And my friend said her name. He was like, "Hello, here you go." And he just kept his head down. And we were like, I gave my poster to another kid. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then thankfully, as we kept walking, I saw Emmett Smith and I got in his line and he was so nice. I walked up and I was like, "Hi, my name is Sharon." He was like, "Hi, my name is Emmett." And he signed my thing and he was like, "Y'all have a good day." And I was like, he's so nice. So like, it sticks with you because years later, anytime I see this athlete, he doesn't anymore, he old now, but anytime I saw this athlete suit up, even though he was playing for the home team, I was like, Anyway, either way, when you meet people, it can leave a lasting impression. And one of those people might grow up to be the Duchess of Sussex. So I think that's just more than enough of a reason to be on your P's and Q's and be nice to people. You never know who you're talking to, but also you want to leave people with a little bit of kindness anytime you meet them. We also got this very, very sweet moment of Meghan just talking about Prince Harry. So first, Jamie Kern Lima shared a quote from Prince Harry supporting his wife, which we talked about. We have a whole video on him supporting Meghan. And then her response of just talking about him. It was so sweet. I'm not even going to summarize it. Take it away, Meghan.
I feel that every day in how supportive he's been and is. There's something that is not to be taken for granted when you have a partner and a spouse who is just so behind you. That man loves me so much. You know, look what we built. We've built a beautiful life and we have 2 healthy, beautiful children. Goal in Super Mario, they're like, slay the dragon, save the princess. I'm like, that's my husband. He's just going to do whatever he can to make sure that our family is safe and protected and we're uplifted and still make time for date nights. I feel like it's more of a honeymoon period for us now.
Do you think you'll be married forever?
Yes. He's also a fox. If you haven't noticed, my husband's very, very handsome. His heart is even more beautiful.
Now, one of my favorite parts of the interview was Meghan talking about parenting. Now, it came up several times, but then when she just paused and talked about creating memories for her kids, particularly creating an email for them, a secret email where every other day or every day if she can, she'll just pause and write things to them and talk about like little moments that they had throughout the day or little memories they made and share little photos. But when they get to a certain age, she's going to give it to them so that they always have those memories in her words. And she just wants the lasting impression is for them to know that she loved them. And as she was talking about this, I was fighting tears. I am a crybaby in my late 30s. I don't know why. I just got real sensitive real fast. And I was, I was on the verge. I was about to cry. Now, y'all know I have been in the early stages of grief for the last couple of months because my grandpa passed away. So that's a huge contributor to why I'm so sensitive. But one of the things that has helped was like going back and reading his birthday cards to me. And just birthday cards of little things. And hey, I hope you go ahead and lose that tooth. And it was fun teaching you to ride your bike this year. Just little notes that he left in the cards that I'm sure my grandmother actually bought and signed. But little things that he left in there for me. Or just going back and reading little texts that we had together that he was able to do later in his life when he was learning to text. We were like, what? Okay, granddaddy. Like he learned to text at 89 years old and texted well up until he passed. So it was like, okay, granddaddy, you better work. But something that I used to do for his birthday every couple of years, I would just pause and write him a letter. And out of all the gifts I've bought him, like I bought him a few really nice pocket watches that I saved up all year long, and cufflinks and tie clips and like really nice gifts. And the letters are always the thing that he would pull from, that he would always talk about, that he would always reference, really appreciating. And he would always call me and respond to everything I said in the letter, so the letter itself was impactful for him, but then it would always spawn a nice hours-long conversation where he would tell me stories about his childhood. He told me the story about him meeting and marrying my grandmother, and that's a very funny story. And like all these things that I might not have known otherwise. And so those letters always spawned amazing memories. And I'm so glad we made the choice to do that. And a lot of times when he would tell me stories, I would write them down so I wouldn't forget. That was just us kind of piecing together our history and writing through special moments. Had he or someone else been able to write in real time, I can't think of how amazing and enriching that would be. And so I decided whenever I have children, I'm absolutely going to take that idea. And now that my niece is going to college, I might just start that with her anyway, of this from this point forward, so that she can have that whenever I'm no longer here to bother her and get on her nerves. And so I just thought that was so sweet. And I loved hearing Meghan talk about that. And I loved seeing her reaction, how moved she was by building that memory for her. I mean, building those memories for her kids. But I'll say this too, a big part of Meghan's intention, and it seems like every facet of her life, is how will this impact my kids' livelihood now? And how will this impact the memory of their childhood later? It always seems like everything she does runs through those two filters. And I just find that to be such an amazing approach to parenting.
I know that they'll feel like, oh my gosh, no one has ever loved someone more than the way our mom loved us. It's part of every day how I show up for them. And I read a lot of parenting books. I really want to be good at it. I think a lot of stuff comes naturally, and a lot of stuff you can also we can all use tools.
I have full body chills right now.
For your whole life. And here's everything and every moment that I wanted to tell you how much I love you and like how proud I am of you. And of all things, it's making me emotional. For them to be able to look back and go, oh my gosh, she has loved us so much. Not about the grandeur of a gesture. It's about I see you. I'm nurturing you and I see you so deeply. And I love being able to see your growth, and I'm just so proud of them.
I love that so much. I cannot express how much that impacted me. And I'm not even one of the babies. I will be. Meghan, you are more than welcome to email me. I could use some encouragement. But if you want to start a newsletter on the As Ever website, I will read your words wherever you put them. You can put them in the sky in a smoke signal. And here I go with my microscope. Now, what is Meghan saying to me today? Let's see. Let's decipher. We finna decode. I don't care how you send that message. I'm going to get it. But Meghan is very encouraging. And it's one of the reasons why no matter what she does, whatever platform, we're going to be there to soak it up. Because she has a lot to leave this world. She has a lot to offer this world. And having that documented in the form of archetypes, in the form of Confessions of a Female Founder, in the form of this interview, in the form of other interviews, in the form of her Netflix shows, having those thoughts that just enriching positivity and kindness, having that documented somewhere, having that kind of encouragement documented somewhere is better for all of us. So no matter how she chooses to document it, I'm going to be there to watch, read, consume in some way. But I love that she has a private email for her children where they only get that part of her, that special part of her as a mom. I just think that's so sweet. And I'm certainly going to take that idea when I have children. And I might even take somewhat of that idea now that my niece is going into a whole new phase of milestones. And
I just wanted to take a super short break to say, if you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and if you are interested, feel free to participate in the live chat going on now, or feel free to leave a comment if you do not wish to engage in the live chat. Once again, I know I do this all the time. I'm enjoying a channel, I'm enjoying the video, I'm just having a great time, and I completely forget to hit subscribe. So please don't forget to hit subscribe. Don't forget to comment if you wish, and please don't forget to hit that thumbs up button so that the algorithm on YouTube knows that you like my content. Now, let's get back to the show.
So those are my takeaways. This was such an amazing interview. Jamie Kern Lima, girl, you can interview. You are good. You are really good. Now, I was going to recap their episode of Confessions of a Female Founder, but I'm going to let you sit with this video, and then I'm just going to give you that one tomorrow. So I hope you don't mind. I just didn't want you to feel like you had so much content from me today that you weren't able to kind of move around to the other Sussex channels. I want y'all to be able to spread out as well. So tomorrow I will do Confessions of a Female Founder, and we'll have a nice long episode about that as well. This was a very good interview. I have every bit of confidence in Jamie Kern Lima and the amazing career she's built for herself. And after kind of deep diving into her for the past 24 hours, I'm certainly excited to continue to look into her. I'm certainly buying her book. I just find her to be a very interesting woman, and I love her disposition. I love a good, cheerful person and a good, authentic, cheerful person. And she just seems like that type of person to me. She has really good energy. But being able to sit down with Meghan, someone who I actually talk about and kind of dissect and kind of learn about all the time and still be able to bring about new information. It's a testament to Meghan's authenticity and her willingness to share. And it's also a testament to Jamie Kern Lima's ability to make her guests comfortable, even when they're her friends, and to interview. So kudos to her for nailing this amazing interview. I am having a very good time watching her other interviews. So thank you, Meghan, for putting me on to Jamie Kern Lima as well. And thank you, Jamie Kern Lima, for a wonderful interview. So that is all I have for y'all today. If you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like, subscribe, and share, and I will see y'all tomorrow.
It's not the critic who counts, nor the man who points out how the strong woman stumbles, I'm going to paraphrase here, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the woman who's actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes up short again and again, because there's no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends herself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if she fails, at least fails while daring greatly. That is you, my friend.